See, it's like Helen ready, but it's hella ready.
Helen.
Helen ready.
Oh, okay. I don't.
Delta Dawn. What's
No.
that rose you have on? Even I am too young to know that one, but I just knew it. Have you ever seen this show? What's this damn thing called? A Matter of Truth or
Mm-mm.
so this my kids were watching this last night, and basically they take some human being and they put them on a lie detector and they ask them 100 questions. And then they get in front of a studio audience with friends and family. Not the whole studio audience, but like 5 people called up, and then they ask them questions that they asked. If they answer them truthfully, they get money.
Wow.
Up to like $250,000 or something.
Wow.
And the questions they ask, obviously they know stuff, like they must have had a private detective, or it's all fake.
Or it's all fake.
And Gene, there's one thing I'll tell you about fake. That's something you and I ain't, brother.
Nope.
This is a real deal.
It's the real deal.
Holyfield.
Holyfield. Let's start the show.
Ah, should we?
Yes. The show has begun, my friends. not that show.
Yeah. Nobody wants to see that show since college. Even then, I'm pretty sure it was only the people who were locked in that ward with me. Gene, we haven't actually seen each other. It's been 3 weeks?
3 weeks. It's crazy, right?
Wow. We pre-recorded some stuff.
We've been pumping the episodes out, though.
Oh, no. We're doing it. And you know what? More and more people are watching. Numbers are going
By the 2s and 3s.
up. They're going up. No, the last episode did really well, man.
That's awesome.
The Is This Shit Worth It episode. And there was a comment on that said, "Thank you. I really needed to hear that today," which was, I think it was Robbie Russell from Planet Argon. I was like, yeah, I'm with you, brother.
Turns out it's not.
You know, it's the thing I want to talk about today is going to seem weird. I'm just going to go here for a second, okay?
Yeah, you sent me the link and I was like, weird.
Most of the people who are watching this are white. Okay? And for our BIPOC viewers and listeners, thank you. We're gonna basically just acknowledge some things we've got to work on today, and it may even be eye roll worthy for non-white listeners.
Right. Maybe.
But I found something out the other day that I was kind of ignorant to, and I'm just gonna out myself here. I didn't realize that there were issues with emojis. Did you know, Gene?
No.
And so here's the thing. I read this great article about using emojis respectfully, because a conversation happened in the Bureau Slack where somebody was wondering about policy around emoji usage and should they default everyone to the yellow color. Right?
Wow.
Well, and this was a really interesting question. And I said I use the white emoji because I'm white. And then somebody posted that article that I shared with you, why most white people don't use the white emoji.
Yeah.
And I felt once again so ignorant to what is evidently this kind of silent removal of the white emoji usage. Most white people default to the yellow emoji.
Mm-hmm. I do. I didn't actually realize I was doing it.
Well, now here's the thing. I was too lazy to figure out in Slack how to change it.
Yeah, well, that's partly it.
And I ended up with the white one to start, but it's funny because, like, especially in Slack, you'll see like 3 different colors and then yellow or white, or you'll see all yellow and then there's one white or whatever. And I was always that one. And I really, it was one of those things where at first I was like, does this matter? Am I overthinking it? But then the more that I read about it, shit matters.
Yeah, it matters.
And it's like I can, I've been trying to write the newsletter on this one for a while, and it's really tough
Yeah,
because
I feel you.
it's one of those things. Let's just say this. If you become sensitive to how you're using emojis, you will feel one little sliver, probably, of what BIPOC people feel all the time.
Right.
Right? And that has been this thing. So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about today was, and I think it gets to gifts a little bit. It's just basically, this is part of our conversation now. This is part of how we talk to each other. This is our language. And if we're not being aware of how things work, and not just here in the States, because I will say the one thing I found was that around the world, most white people use the white emoji. Here in the States is where we normally don't. So I know, right? It's all
we do
it's
have
all kind of
we do have a
crazy.
history
Well, that's it, right?
that other
And
countries necessarily don't have in the modern.
so you read the article.
Yeah.
And the one thing they say is most white people don't use the white emoji because choosing a skin color, that's where we're going now. It's a new evolution.
What's
But,
my skin color?
Choosing a skin color is supposed to be about representing who you are,
Right. Right.
right? Now, first of all, it's got to be really difficult. Take a look at like any makeup line for women right now, right? There are no successful makeup companies that have five skin tones available. Basically, there are hundreds and hundreds. Think about it, right? There aren't 5 different shades of people.
Right. There's thousands. Right.
Probably even
Unlimited.
Unlimited, yeah. So these makeup companies allow people to choose whatever makeup they need to. They can even like go online and figure out exactly what it is and get custom makeup. But with emojis,
You can't.
you kind of get stuck. And here's the craziest thing to me. And this shows you talk about privilege. I was not aware of it. Do you remember when emojis first came out?
Not really, but I mean, I'm sure.
Well, and I prepared for the episode.
Okay.
So
Cool.
you're screwed.
Awesome.
Excuse me. So like in the late 90s in
Okay.
Japan, in 99,
Okay.
Shigetaka Kurita. I got a little note card here.
You did prepare.
I did.
Oh my
Shigetaka
gosh.
Kurita.
Professional
He created the first emoji, right? And he created a set of emojis, and then Unicode took over. And the thing is, when the first emojis were released, right? Now you got the smiley face and the frowny face and all those little circle faces.
Now those are all yellow.
Those are all yellow.
Yeah. You don't get a choice on skin tone on those.
No,
It's really
but
just
with-
a thumbs up, right?
But with the thumbs up and those sorts, do you remember what color they were when they were first released? They were white.
Oh, they were kind of like the first
The
Facebook.
thumbs up, the high
Facebook
five.
logo is like that.
No,
yeah.
it was white, but it was almost like paper white.
Right. Like no
Like
pigment white.
I mean, that probably still counts.
Yeah.
But can you imagine being a non-white person
Yeah.
and having to thumbs up as a white person?
Like, yeah.
Is this, and I can, you know what? I know there are people out there listening right now going, are they really talking about this? Yeah,
Yeah.
we are, because privilege is not having to talk about it, right? But then you think about, okay, so then 2015, they release the 5 different skin tones. And they also release just more, I guess, more human options. You've got, I think, the transgender flag. You've got
right,
ear with a hearing aid in it.
Right.
So you've got things for people with disabilities. You've got just different diverse emojis come in. They also start working on like a handshake that can have 2 different shades, right? But the thing is, if you look at it, and this is what's kind of crazy. Let's talk about Legos.
Okay.
40 years ago, Legos decide we're going to use bright yellow for all the faces, right?
Right.
Do you know how many? And again, Gene, I've got a goddamn note card. Today, there are 3,257 different color faces of Legos.
That's insane.
Not all of them are realistic. Okay.
Well,
I mean,
sure.
you've got like,
Got like
space
Darth Maul
aliens and you've got, yeah. You got all kinds of stuff, but they were like, okay. But then you look at The Simpsons, right?
They're all yellow, yeah.
They're not. Go into that 7-Eleven,
Oh, right.
right? Or go any non-white character in The Simpsons has a realistic skin tone.
Right.
So they have kind of also shown us
What's
that,
the most Sislak skin tone? Is that like is that like liver disease, alcoholic skin tone?
oh yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
That's like, no, that's
You're not representing my group properly without
No,
the liver
right.
disease, anemic skin tone.
Exactly. So yeah, so yellow becomes white people not having to promote being white.
Right.
This blows my mind. And I know a lot of people are like, geez, Carl, welcome to the party. Well, you know what? I'm glad I'm here.
Yep.
And
I gotta get there. We gotta get there sometime. Come on.
but the thing is, it's like it's something we can just say, okay, I'm gonna go over here. I don't think there's anything wrong with using the white emojis. Right? Now this one may be an issue. The one of just the hand being raised in a fist with the finger showing.
Right.
But to me, it's like using white emojis doesn't make you a racist. Being a
Right.
racist makes you a racist,
Right. Right.
right? And I think it's in the context of who you are and how you use it. Like you should never use a skin tone that you're not.
Well, they never came with instructions.
No, but common sense, right?
Well, see, and here's, I don't want to derail you if you had more.
No, go.
So I did a sort of unofficial fast poll by polling some of my friends. And one of the more interesting ones was someone hit me back and said that in the past they used the darker skin tone when they were speaking to someone who was darker in skin tone, thinking that like I should speak to you, in how you represent yourself, like reverse that, in the confusion. And then, they would get a comment back with like, "Did you get a tan?" And it's like, oh, I did that wrong. But like, shit, I didn't know.
No, you're right. And it's interesting in that anti-racism daily is this great newsletter, right? And it's like super accessible. It does not bash white people. Mm-hmm. It's like it's a helping hand. It's saying, "Hey, come here. I need to talk to you." But it basically says never use a darker skin tone emoji to appear woke. It's like, don't do it because you think you're trying to let them know.
Right.
Because most of us see it as the individual that's speaking. And also, and then there's sometimes in marketing, right? Like somebody's putting up a job posting in social media and they want diverse candidates. So like, oh, I should use a darker skin tone emoji. And what they say there is put them all up. Put the all 5 up. And see how many, bright yellow people you get applying. But yeah, no, that's definitely one of the things. But they call it
after reading the article and thinking about my own usage, and then I was talking to some people. I began to realize that there's implied usage right on the other side. Like, why are they doing it that way? But then there's also like confused usage. Like just this morning, I'm watching my relative, one of my uncle. He's like, he's been married for like 50 something years. He's like, married today. Like he said it today. He doesn't even know it's public. So, I mean, this is technology. Some people just don't know how to use it, much less know how to use it enough to like dig down into like what color emoji I should use. Like, but I don't know that you're talking about those people necessarily. I
think it's fair. I think that
if
brings
we're
up
being inclusive, we need to be fair to the people that don't know what the fuck they're doing.
No, that's true. Technology is tricky for some people. I know for whatever reason, Apple Pay, is that a thing? I'm just
I
kidding. I'm
can't.
kidding.
Yeah.
I love it. Or do I? But no, to your point, there's going to be confusion. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be all these things. There's going to be people who just didn't even know it was a thing until hopefully they hear this or they see the newsletter. I know I was one of those people, but now I'm thinking about it.
Right.
And if you see, I mean, and that's the thing, right? Like the married today thing is just funny, right? It's like, all right. But when you see somebody else do it, like this conversation that happened in the Bureau Slack channels, right? It's like, okay, I just want to talk to you about this. It looks a little different than I think you're thinking it looks. But here's the other one that really got me. When you look at the emojis that are actually faces, like they're trying to be realistic, they all have European hair.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they've changed the skin tones,
But it's
but
just
they've
this.
pretty much left the.
Yeah.
So it is
Like,
kind of
what the hell is
digital.
that?
It's kind of digital blackface in a
Yeah,
way,
a little bit. Yeah.
and not in a
Probably nobody
way.
uses them. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. And then somebody actually made a comment that because all of the white ones have blonde hair, but she has darker hair, she uses a slightly different shade so she can get the darker hair because it looks more like her. Which is where you start to think about emojis, right?
Right. I think
Now,
Apple's. Yeah, that's got to be where Apple's trying to address a lot of this.
well, and obviously that's a totally different technology. And for Unicode is like
Yeah.
embedded in everything with emojis. So it's kind of on them and on us. But one of my favorite things was in that conversation, somebody said, you just don't have to use those. Like if you agree with somebody, put up the 100,
Right.
you know,
There are other options. Yes.
or go back to the circle faces.
Yeah.
The circle faces, there's a ton of them
Uh-huh.
and they work. And everybody accepts them, and that's way back to the smiley face. Like, let's forget Lego. Lego didn't decide that the default skin color was going to be bright yellow. That was going to represent everybody. It was Forrest Gump, right?
I guess.
No, but it was that yellow face.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely fascinating. I tell you, one of the things that for those that might be thinking that it's such a small thing. Like, and I'm guessing
We're gonna keep apologizing for this, but damn it, we shouldn't.
well, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, it's a small thing. I mean,
This is not police brutality.
right. But what it did for me is it made me think about the fact that there are biases that I might have that I didn't consider that I have. You know what I mean? And I think that's the key to most of this, and is to just kind of you don't know the shit you don't know,
Yeah.
and just to be open to it and
Well,
realize that somebody might be putting up with shit you don't really realize.
And flip it for a second. Imagine being a black person getting ready to use an emoji,
Yeah.
and they have to say
Like, wait, what? Yeah.
no, but they have to say, well, first of all, okay, I get that there aren't the right colors to represent everybody, so you're going to have to kind of say and colorism, people treating people differently based on their shade, all of this stuff is real. But when you look at what the options you have, when you decide, okay, I am the darkest emoji or I'm the second darkest or whatever, then you have to decide, do I want to be a black person showing emotion on this or a yellow person and like not show that I'm black when I show this? That's a totally different
It is.
thing because like when a white person does it, we're saying, well, I'm not saying this is a white person
Well, here's
because
the thing.
we're feeling defensive. They're like saying, is it going to, I mean, and I don't know this for sure, just things that I've read, but is this going to say that I'm not proud of who I am?
Right.
So different.
There's so much to. Ruben. I did an interview with Ruben
So, oh man. So
probably
good.
about 2 years ago now. Wow, I need to talk to him again. It's been a while. And he spoke about when he's running his business, a web design shop. He spoke about when he speaks to people on the phone, he has two different voices.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've talked about that older
He
episodes of
talked about it
Toast.
at Owner Summit.
Yeah,
He got
he's
up on stage
impediments,
and
and
yeah,
I forget what he called it.
it's code switching.
Yeah, thank you, code switching.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, and I'm sure that applies to this kind of stuff too. It's like,
Yeah.
um,
Well,
it's
go
just fascinating, and it's something that we don't have to deal with because
no.
we're white people and we're always white people. But
When and think about
he
this.
doesn't want to appear to be a certain thing to maybe not get the business from someone who might be
Oh my
slightly
God.
judgmental about giving the. It's just
We
ridiculous.
should we'll link up his talk that
That'd be
he gave
great.
at Owner Summit, all about code switching and different things. Because again, that
I think this touches on that though.
the more ignorant I am, and the more I can learn, and the more I can share with other people in the community, and the more we can get better at this stuff. And that was one of the things about when Ruben got on stage and shared all that stuff. And I'll tell you what, that took a hell of a lot of courage, I
Yeah,
think. But it was so valuable for everybody. And Ruben and Sherry, Fly Duo, amazing shop. I don't know if you saw the branding they did recently. Somebody actually got a tattoo of the brand.
I saw that.
That's the definition of branding, by the way.
Yes, literally.
Yeah, so that was amazing. But you just made me think about something. So before emojis, and obviously they show up in, well, I mean, no, before 2010, the internet was not race free. Like it wasn't like you couldn't identify or tell. But for the most part, I mean, if somebody sent an email, you didn't know.
Right. It was hard enough to use it in the first place. Yeah.
But you did. But that's what I'm saying is it was almost a place where we could just be humans. And I'm not saying that's better, right? Because I think understanding color is really important.
Yes.
There's all
Clearly.
so much that's beneficial if we're paying attention. But yeah, if you think about it, it was for a while just this place where we had, conversations. Obviously, Facebook, LinkedIn, all these things kind of change. I mean, what's the first thing somebody links when they are going to do an introduction is LinkedIn.
Right.
So as soon as you click on that person, you're going to see a picture of them, right? So that's like now kind of not that it's good or bad, but it's just where we are. I think getting back to the idea of emojis and the way that they work, I think they're super important because they allow us to take this flat conversation, and emoticons were great,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it lets us really put a little more humanity into it. But that has its own challenges. Did you know? So the little angel emoji, the halo. I just call it the halo
Yeah, the
emoji.
halo, yeah.
What does that emoji mean?
Oh, I don't know what they all mean, especially
No,
that
no.
one.
But if you were to see that one or
If,
use
if I
that
were to
one,
use it or send it, I would think it would mean I'm not guilty. Like whatever was done, it wasn't me, or
So,
I'm
like-
apologizing or something, or I'm a saint, whatever.
or I'm a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in China, it means death.
Oh shit.
So
Right, and hey, we're only addressing like the African American versus white person emoji. We're not talking
Or
about
BIPOC.
all or
it's BIPOC. I mean, it's
but
a whole bunch. Yeah.
there's a whole thing.
And then you start to look at gender fluid emojis. Like there's the two dads and a baby now. You've got multiracial families. I don't think that's happened, but I think it's supposed to be happening. So like all these different things. Now at some point, I mean, it's got to keep going, but it's also got to be a place where we can customize it. And I know it's like frequently used or whatever, but we're gonna have thousands and thousands when we get to a point where they actually can represent. But even then, I just think thinking about it culturally beyond the States is so important.
Right.
I
do too.
So
We have to.
I appreciate you letting me kind of go on this
No,
today.
it's fascinating. It's fascinating in it, and I learned a lot about myself just simply reading that article and asking my friends about it.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm with you on just thinking about the way we ask your friends, talk to other people, find out, because it matters. It just matters, Gene.
Yep. Awesome.
There you go.
So, is this part of the newsletter or is this a standalone? Do you have any hot takes that you're going to throw in there?
The whole hot take is just this. Every time you have to slow down to think about the emoji you're going to send, think about all the other people who aren't you.
Yeah.
Let this be, if nothing else, let this be a little trigger every day so that it doesn't have to be the murder of George Floyd.
Right.
Right? It does. I mean, we need to pay attention every single day. There are going to be huge things that happen. But if every time we go to show a little emotion in a message or a reaction or something, we can just realize there are other people out there who don't have the privilege that we have. I think it's kind of a great way to just approach it.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Awesome. All right, Gene, next week?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll see you then.